Good afternoon, everybody. I'd just like to set the context first around Disability Ireland and AT and DFI. People with disabilities represent approximately nearly 600,000 people in Ireland, and that doesn't include family, friends, neighbours, etc. Because when we discuss the work of AT, it is important to know who we're speaking about. People who are out of work due to illness or disability are 5 times more likely to be at risk of poverty and survive on the lowest annual average disposable income compared to other groups. Most of the disabilities are acquired or developed as a person ages. For example, 250,000 are diagnosed, or 250 people are diagnosed each year with MS, and a staggering 10,000 sustain a traumatic brain injury every year. And 1 person a week sustains a spinal cord injury. But only 20% of people with disabilities aged 15 and over are in employment, compared to 50% of the general population of the same age. The majority of people with disabilities live with 1 or more family members in a family home rather than living independently. The basic philosophies of AT are closely aligned to those of DFI, that is, independence, choice, and the assertion that people with disabilities should be the decision makers of their own lives. And the well-known phrase, "nothing about us without us," illustrates this very well. DFI has long supported independent living movement, of which AT is the shining example. And we are proud to count 16 centres for independent living as members of DFI, drawn from all over the country. Independent living is a philosophy and a movement of people with disabilities who work for self-determination, equal opportunities, self-respect. Independent living does not mean that people want to do everything for themselves, or do not need anybody, or they want to live in isolation. They demand the same choices and control in everyday lives that non-disabled community take for granted, growing up with their families, going to the local school, etc. AT is pushing the boundaries of the current status quo, in particular when it comes to housing and other issues of access. And organisations like AT are at the forefront in ensuring that government delivers on their policy promises by creating real and meaningful avenues for people with disabilities to access and direct services that they need. Not only is AT a wonderful example of independent living movement, but DFI see the organisation as an example of real realisation of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which we would like Ireland to ratify anytime soon, sooner the better. The basic principles of independent living and choice are interwoven throughout the fabric of the CRPD, and which DFI is constantly pushing the government to ratify. All of the articles within the CRPD are relevant to the topic of independent living. However, the key importance of Articles 9, accessibility, and Article 19, living independently and being included in community. Our own DFI's memorandum and articles of association address this issue, and I quote, "supporting such action as is deemed appropriate to help people with disabilities to express their views and wishes, to have their interests represented, access information and services, and explore choices and options, thus empowering people with disabilities to speak up for themselves and to fulfil their potential, and to be involved in and influence decisions that are being made about their future." I think that's worth repeating: be involved in and influence decisions that are being made about their future. It is clear, therefore, that in supporting the work of AT by DFI, this is crucial for DFI in fulfilling its own mission. Direct payments to individuals, which enables them to employ, either directly or indirectly, individuals to assist them with their everyday tasks. The level of support needed by individual is exactly that, individual. This system of paying individuals money directly rather than to services is much more in keeping with the push for independence and autonomy, which drives the work of independent living movement. AT facilitates direct payments to people with disabilities, supports people in setting up community-based, volunteer-led companies to manage their personal budgets and direct services. The landscape of the disability sector has undergone many changes since DFI was set up in the 1960s. At that time, it was part of a new wave of progressive organisations campaigning within the sector. Next came the disabled people's organisations like Down Syndrome Ireland, which is my own organisation, who further pushed the boundaries and possibilities for disability action groups. AT represent the newest iteration of user-led organisations, with a clear vision for the future of service provision in Ireland. All these organisation models have played their role in pushing the boundaries of disability services and ensuring that people with disabilities are at the centre of service design and delivery. The nearly 600,000 people with disabilities in Ireland do not want decisions to be made for them. They do not want choice to be taken away from them. Therefore, in supporting and in working with AT to make the system of direct payments accessible to more and more individuals, we in DFI, and indeed all of us here today, can make sure that Ireland becomes a more just, equitable and accessible society for all. Thank you for listening.